everybody. I'm Debbi Johnson. I've been at Western Connecticut State University for, I think, 20 years. I teach a 2-semester course in anatomy and physiology. I teach just the labs. I'm also the lab coordinator. We have about 250 to 300 freshman undergrad students in the course each fall. 3 large lectures, which get broken down into as many lab sections as needed, depending on the number of students. About 20 to 22 students in each lab. So as lab coordinator, I'm supposed to try to keep the labs as similar as possible, since most of those students are competing for only 80 to 90 seats in our nursing department. So it's pretty competitive. So we don't want one group to get something the other doesn't and have an unfair advantage. So all labs we try to keep as similar as possible. I started using visible body, as we said, three years ago. I think it's going to be 4 years this September. At first, I had no idea what I was going to do. I just knew I thought the platform was amazing. So we do use it for most of our lab topics. Before the semester begins, I go in and look at all 4 apps that are part of the courseware, and I pull out for each topic that we're going to do in lab and make what I call a chapter. Excuse me. At Western, we separate lab into a more anatomy-based and lecture is more physiology-based. Obviously, they overlap, but that's how we try to do it. We also try to keep very lab and lecture together, the topics. Of course, Mother Nature throws us a curveball every now and then, especially this past fall, but with snow days, etc., we've had curveballs that way also. So basically, I go in and I look under, let's just say, the tissue topics, and I put them all in my course under tissues. Then I go through and kind of edit it out and what I need and don't need for what I do. Then I go to bones, etc. Since we're going to be a hybrid course this fall, tissue is one of the labs we plan on doing 100% remotely. So I'm going to really look at it. I'm going to need a ton of pictures of tissues so that they can learn them. And right now I'm working with the other instructors, so I don't have that one done. I'm just starting it. I'm also teaching summer school this summer online, so I'm a little bit frazzled. But the pre-labs that Visible Body has made have been invaluable. I can't stress how much help those pre-labs have been that Visible Body has put together. I'm going to just share my screen quickly. I'll show you my course. Oh, there it is. Of course, I can't find it. I think it's that one. I think you're going to see something else first. Yeah, I have too many windows open, sorry. Oh, I can't find my screen. No, that's not the screen I want. That's the one. Okay, can you see it?
I can see your screen.
Okay, good. So this is what it looks like, and I just take, and as I said, I go through.
Oh, sorry. We see your calendar. We don't see the
Oh, you don't see the right one. Oh dear.
No worries.
Let me see if I can do it this time. Now do you see Visible Body?
Yes.
Okay, phew. This is my summer course. As I said, I take and do all the chapters. So first we have intro. I've actually taken some of the blog messages that Visible Body has emailed us. And in fact, I'm pretty sure in here I have, oh, that's not a blog though, the fun facts. It's like a little book, and I link it to here so that the students can see it. It's just silly facts about the body. It's just some fun things. Visible Body has also given us a link on how to study, which I give to them. So I give them as much stuff as possible. And then just to show you how I set it up, I don't know, I'll just go to axial skeleton. I have a section on sutures, the skull, the actual skeleton, various specific bones, and then I have practice quizzes for them. I don't grade these quizzes. They use them for practice. That's just how we do it, but they are gradable. You could grade them and use them for points in your course if you wanted to. That's about what I have. I don't know if anybody, so if anybody has any questions or whatever, I'll stop sharing. So.
Yeah, so feel free to ask any questions. Again, it can be about visible body content, about the courseware platform. It could be about really, you know, teaching in a distance learning environment. So, okay, so we've got a question here, actually from Deborah Anderson. So I'm going to unmute you, Deborah, and you can ask your question. Go ahead. You might have to unmute yourself on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Hi.
Okay. I was just curious if Debbie can show us, you know, not the whole unit, but like more of, besides the organization, I like seeing that more of what something looks like, for example, like what a quiz looks like or what the setup looks like in terms of the content that the students will see.
Okay. Give me a second to share again.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's still in the axial. So I went through, this one is from the Anatomy and Physiology app. And then it's just about the sutures. It's gonna take a minute to come up. And of course, because we're kind of in a somewhat hurry, it takes forever. But okay, come on. There it is. So this is one of the videos.
Yep. And there's narration. It's just, I think it's just muted, but that's okay. You can keep it muted.
It's really quiet right now. I don't know why. So, let's see. I can't get back. Why can't I get back? So that was what I have under sutures. Then I go back. The human skull, I'm not sure. I think that's another. Oh, this is, oops. Oh, this is one of the things that Visible Body, I don't, like a little book that they have sent us about stuff about the skull. So it tells about different bones and so forth in the skull. And then go back. Oops, where was I? Axial skeleton. This one is from Anatomy and Physiology, where it'll show, of course, it'll take forever to come up.
Bless you.
Thank you. My allergies are so bad right now, and with everybody with the virus, they're like afraid of me.
I know there's like a coat of pollen on everything.
Yes.
All the time. Sometimes if it's taking a little while to load an app, closing out another app. So if you close out Physiology Animations, that might make it a little bit faster.
Yes. I don't know why it's not.
Well, while that's loading, Deborah Anderson asked another question. Do students have an assigned activity to complete with each of the videos and animations?
I do a worksheet and they have to find the answers in here. And I do not do it in an order that is the order it is there. I could have a question about the sphenoid first, and I think that's one of the last things on there. I could have any order. So they do have a worksheet that I have made at this point. So this part that's up now is from Anatomy and Physiology, and it tells about the skeleton and it shows it, and then they just do the arrow and go to the next part, which talks about the skull. And then if you click on that, the cranial bones, it'll show the cranial. If you click on facial, it'll show facial. And then the arrow, and then the few bones, and they can click on and they'll find out which one's the occipital, etc. And this is where they'll find a lot of the answers to my questions in this part here. So.
And then we have another question, Debbie, from Christina. Does this work with Blackboard?
Yes, because we use Blackboard.
Yep. So you can link out to visible body courseware from Blackboard. The only thing is we don't have the grade sync that you might be used to. You know, you still have to. It's a manual process to take the grades from the visible body courseware quizzes and put them into the Blackboard quizzes. But yes, you can organize it in Blackboard.
If you know how to do it in Excel, if you put the visible body grades in Excel, you can then put it into Blackboard that way. It's just an extra step.
Oh, great.
But if you look up here on top where it says, I don't know, can you guys see the Western Connecticut up here? This WCSU, if I was to click on it, would bring me to my Blackboard, to my summer Blackboard site. So, I think originally they wanted to see a quiz. Did somebody want to see a quiz? Because here's a practice quiz real quick, depending on how quickly it will come up. And this is a visible body quiz. I think in this one I have written a couple questions, but most of them are from visible body. Is this loading?
And while that's loading, to answer Heather's question, she asked if we have single sign-on with Blackboard. We don't have it yet. It's definitely coming, but we don't have single sign-on yet. But if you put the link in Blackboard, and then students, you know, have their browser remember their courseware login, usually like that just saves it and they can go directly to courseware from Blackboard.
I can show mine after I show this quiz.
That would be
I have
great.
it, so it's just a click from Blackboard. So take the quiz, select the body. So I would click here and then submit the quiz, and I'm either correct or not. And then the next question. And then, you know, whatever, and click. So I don't really want to take the whole quiz, but so it's very easy for them. And they can also manipulate this if they needed to. I don't know, not this one for this answer, but they could turn the bone upside down and so forth to show if it was some other bone and you needed a bone part on the back of the bone. I was just showing that. But if I click here at the WCSU, this brings me to my Blackboard, and I happen to be in summer one. So as long as you can see this, if you notice over here, we have lecture information, lab information, and then visible body. This visible body, they just have to click on, and it will bring them right to it. Or if they haven't signed up yet, it'll bring them to the part to sign up for it, or if they need to sign in. I happen to be signed in right now, so it opens it right up to it. But it's that simple, just by putting a link on Blackboard.
Great. All right, we have a question from Sarah McNorton. So Sarah, I've unmuted you. Go ahead and ask your question. You might have to, I think you have to unmute yourself on your end.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I had a couple of questions. So yeah, the one I typed was, so you don't follow a pre-designed course textbook, you make your own topics, and then like you said, you go into all of the apps and just pull from what you want?
We did use Marib, and we've gotten away from it. We tell the students they can buy it if they want to, but we don't. So we're following Marib in that we're following their order, the order their labs and course goes in, but we are making it our own.
So do you require them to get a textbook then?
We recommend it.
Right, okay.
But we tell them they can get an older one to save money because, well, let's face it, we all like to save money.
Right. And what about these pre-labs that you said are really good from Visible Body? Are those in the Marib? Like, because I use Marib too. So I didn't know if that was part of the Marib pre-designed course, or did you get them in a separate link?
No, it's actually part of Visible Body.
Okay.
I don't know if I can share those. Do you know where they are, Emily?
So the pre-lab, are you talking about
Your
the
lab.
quizzes or the?
No, the actual lab.
Oh, the lab, like the lab activities?
Yeah, the actual
Yeah.
activities.
Oh, those fillable ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. I am familiar with those. Okay. So do you have them do that and your worksheet?
Actually, I use their lab, that lab, and I take out some things that we don't do in our course.
And how do you, but then you probably have lost the fillable ability then.
Yes, I have, but they just type it in.
In Word?
Yeah, I use
Okay.
Word so they
Okay.
can do it. Now that we're online, that's what I've had to do real quick.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for the fall. I was just trying to figure out. So you just post them as Word as opposed to fillable PDFs now that you've edited them. Okay, that's what I was thinking as well. Okay. And this book about the topics that you showed, was that part of Marib too? That one that you showed with the skull?
No, that's from Visible Body also. It's part of the stuff. If you're on the email list, you get blogs and other stuff periodically.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
emails.
You will, I think will be great to show at this, just really quickly, maybe Deb can show them. We do have
I'll stop sharing.
a lot of pre-built courses out of the box. So if you're looking to get started with Visible Body courseware, you can get started right away with one of our pre-built courses. So you don't have to build the course yourself. You certainly can, and but you don't have to. We highly recommend starting with a pre-built course. And Deb will show you those right now.
Thank you, Emily. Is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So I am now logged into courseware as an instructor, and I'm on the My Courses page. And right at the top of the page, you can see I have some of our pre-made courses for the Marib Essentials course, and then the Marib Hain Human A&P course. And we just updated all of these courses to include these fillable lab activities that Debbie was just referencing. So these are all available now in the appropriate folders here in the course. And we always start out with a getting started with courseware. I noticed Debbie had hers called a little something different to make it kind of more fun orientation to her course. And you can certainly edit any of that here. If you wanted to change the names of the assignments, you're able to do that. But this is really important to orient students to how to use Visible Body, how to use the actual 3D models, and then a little quiz to kind of test that they read it. And it'll save them time with system requirements and things like that in the future. But let me go to the skeleton chapter here. If I can open it up and then show y'all a little bit of some of these activities that we've added. So the check mark denotes that it is a graded assessment, and everything prior to the graded assessment is meant to lead students into the assessment so that they can perform well, and it prepares them to do a good job in the assessment. And then everything after that is just to reinforce the learning. So we've got the lab activity here for the axial skeletons. I'm going to click on that one and launch it here in a separate browser instance. Here it's bringing it up. And we just converted all of these labs to the fillable format, so students don't have to print them out if they're at home. And you can see that these have all been created by A&P and biology instructors, and all of the formats now allow you to type in the answers. So students can complete this and then download it and then upload it, their finished lab activity, into your learning management system. So the labs are actually following the models that we have in our products, so they can certainly refer back to those, but everything is here in the lab activity. And I'm not sure how much of these individual lab activities Debbie is using, but you can certainly provide information to your students about which sections you want to have them complete. But you're not able to remove different sections of these pre-built lab activities at this time, although I think that's something we have on our future development list to accommodate those kinds of edits. But this is a pretty extensive lab, as you can see. It's 59 pages long, so we won't go through all of it, but all of these now are available, as Debbie said, in our pre-built courses. So if you have a textbook that you're following and you would like for us to provide you with the pre-made course that matches it, we'd be delighted to do that. If you could just indicate that in the chat, then we'll have one of our sales representatives follow up with you to provide all of that for you.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm gonna go, Alice has a question, so I'm gonna unmute you, Alice. Go ahead and ask your question.
There. Can you hear me now, I guess?
Yes.
So can we, you know, she made her own course then from pulling from these pre-made or pulling from activities, and then when I do that, I can just share it with the rest of my faculty, right? Can I share this course with other faculty?
Yes.
Yes, it's very, very easy to share your course. Once you have it completed, you can click to the right of the course in courseware and you can send a copy. So you can copy your course link and then send this to all the instructors who are teaching, and then they can edit the course and add their section numbers and everything that they need to make it their own. So once they receive the course link, they would click on the copy, and provided that they have an instructor account with Visible Body courseware, they would then be able to have it automatically populate in their courseware account. And if they don't have an account, then it would simply just be a quick email request to us to be able to provide that link for you. But once you have the course, you're able to change the name of the course, add your time zone, your start date for the course, any course IDs that you want to add, so students can easily recognize their course. And then you can also upload a course logo. So if you have one for your institution, you can customize your course so that when students are logging in, they're able to see your logo where it says courseware at the upper left side of my page. That would be where your institutional logo would appear. And when they launch their assignments, it would also appear as it's loading the assignment page.
Okay. And for I think I saw our book on your list when I was looking earlier, and those are all pre-made, so we can't edit those, but we can pull from them to create our own. I missed the beginning of Debbie's talk, I guess, at the beginning of this.
You can edit the pre-made courses, absolutely, if you want to. You can remove anything that you don't want. You can go into the individual assignments and you can remove anything that you don't want. So you can either create your course from scratch and build your assignments using our content and our tools, or you can start with a pre-made course and then delete the things that you know that you don't want to use.
Seems easier, at least at this point, if I needed to use this more quickly than not.
So you can see when you're inside the course and you click on the down arrow next to the folder or chapter that you want to edit, you can delete it, you can rename it, you can copy the folder and then move it into another course. So there are a lot of options for customizing these pre-made courses, but you absolutely have full control over what's in your course and what you want to keep and certainly what you want to add.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm going to go over to Elsa. Go ahead. I think you just have to unmute yourself on your end.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was wondering how, I guess it was Debbie, First Lady, how does she test the students? She said she doesn't use the quizzes, so what does she do?
We do our own quizzes at this point. We do want to get to doing visible body quizzes, but having to do this so quickly in March and going totally online, we've always done paper quizzes and tests.
Okay.
But with doing it, we just literally typed in our paper quizzes and didn't use visible body because of March and Corona.
Okay, okay. And another question I had was, how are you going to be maintaining your distance in your labs? How many people you're having in your lab?
We have a weird way we're going to try it in September. We are going to go in as instructors in August and record ourselves. There's like 5 of us that teach labs, and we're each going to take 2 or 3 labs and record us doing like the pre-lab talk and what they're going to do. And half of them are coming, let's say at 9 o'clock when lab starts. They will have already watched our pre-lab and taken a pre-quiz. And then they will come in and be able to actually see the bones or see the muscle models we have, whatever, for 1 hour. Then they have to clean up, where they have to wear masks and gloves and all that the whole time they're in. Then they clean up, they're out within an hour and 15 minutes, and the second half is coming in at like, let's say 10:30.
Okay, how many will you have then when half of them comes in? How many will be half? 10 or 12?
10, maybe 11.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I was just wondering how we're going to handle this.
Well, that's what we've come up with. And then every so many weeks, we're supposed to do a remote one so that they can super clean the room.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go over to Lori. Go ahead, Lori. You just need to unmute yourself on your end. You can ask your question or questions if you have more than one.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Okay. All right. I just was wondering, so some of the same questions that came up for Blackboard, I was wondering if the same thing applied to Brightspace. We use Brightspace or D2L. And whether or not those, you have to do the same. There's no, oh, sorry, my words are escaping me. The quick link for the grading, you have to import the grades into Brightspace as well, or?
Yes, right now, yes. So we are working on deep LMS integration.
Thank you. I knew there was a technical word for it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so there you go. And Deb's showing you. You just
Okay.
just export. But we do have the CSVs ready for D2L and the other LMSs.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Okay. I'm going to go over to Valerie. Go ahead, Valerie. Just need to unmute yourself.
Hi, Debbie. I'm just wondering if there's any feature in particular that you've had feedback on from students that they really seem to connect with or love or find that helps the most?
Muscles. Their grades have increased unbelievably with muscles, and they're actually beginning to understand origin and insertions. I'm shocked how well they're doing with muscles.
Actually, Debbie, we had another question, a request for you to show how you teach muscles, in particular the muscle actions and the origins and insertions. So
Oh,
you can share
okay.
your screen and maybe walk through.
So let me share again.
Great, thank you.
And share and go to, well, I don't even go through the stuff here. I have to go to PowerPoint, to Blackboard first and get the PowerPoint because I just assigned it. We're actually doing it this week in summer school. We'll just take this one. Okay. Of course. Correct slide. Can you see it? Can you see the PowerPoint?
No, we just see your Blackboard course right now.
Okay, so let me stop share and reshare the PowerPoint. There it is, okay. Okay, now can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, they are given this PowerPoint and it lists all the muscles that they need to know. Now, if we are in school, we do have models and they are to look at the model and figure out what number those are on the model. But for action, origin, and insertion, they use visible body, which I'll show you in a minute. The comments are just for them. Whatever, some of them put, you know, it's the shoulder muscle, it's the shape of the muscle, whatever they want. But they're given this chart, and it's a multi-page chart. There's multiple pages. And then they come to visible body, and let me share visible body. That's not visible body. Gotta go back to Blackboard, I think. And I just have them go to My Apps, and they can either use the Atlas or Muscle Premium, whichever one they prefer. Hopefully this will come up quickly. Let me shut a couple windows. Of course, it takes forever.
This is unusually slow. Sometimes the Zoom,
Yeah.
slow it down a little bit.
I have no idea where I left off, so. So just do shoulder. If they were doing, let's say, the deltoid, they would click on it. I always tell them definitely read, I call it the book in the box, the little book. which brings up some information about the deltoid. And in there, they're going to find the action, the origin, and the insertion. I tell them always use the pins, which mark the origin and insertion. You can see the pins. One is kind of in the red there up here, and it will tell them that the origin is the scapula, and the blue one is the insertion, what it is. And then the action is what really helps them, are these little movies that they can click on the little action movie and actually see it. And then I always tell them, although visible body gives you the correct terminology, learn the action so you know what the arm is really, or the body is really doing in your words, not using, learn it so you know what it is, then you can learn the correct terminology. It's how I try to tell them. So hopefully that helps. But the grades have increased unbelievably with muscles since we started doing it this way. Any other muscle question?
Let's see. I'm looking. Let me just scan the chat.
Okay, I'm going to just stop him, please.
You know what? I think I will go over to Valerie now.
Okay, should I stop sharing?
I don't know if it's about muscles, but hang on. Oh, actually, nope, not Valerie. Let me see if Geeta. Go ahead. You're unmuted, so go ahead and ask your question, Geeta.
Yeah, my question was, what is the link you used so that you can put the link on your Blackboard and students can just click on visible body and come into the courseware? Which is the link you give them?
It's in the courseware and it says invite. I don't remember the words. Oh, right here, invite people.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just a long link. And I just put that on the Blackboard page as a link and it works.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that link, whether you're using Blackboard or not, if you're just using visible body courseware, that is the link that you share with your students to have them register and pay. So it's just one link and it walks them right through the process.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had another question for the first chapter in the book where you're talking about the directional terms and the cavities and the planes and, all those kind of things. Do you have any labs for those?
I don't think we do. Deb, do you know if we do? I can find out. I don't think we have labs for directional terms right now. Deb, do you know if we do off the top of your head? We can find out.
Not sure, but that's a good follow-up question we can get back to you on.
Okay, great.
You do have that one book-like thing that has some of the language of anatomy.
Yeah, I found one thing in Anatomy and Physiology app, I think, but
Yeah.
I didn't find anything with quizzes or where they could practice things.
No, I don't know of any of that, but there is that one book kind of thing.
In the Mariab, I saw there's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we do have an answer key for that and all of our lab activities as well. And we usually share all of that in an Instructor Resources course, just so you have it handy in your courseware account. So if you want those free resources in that format, let us know in the chat and we can make sure we follow up.
Yeah, I would like that too.
Okay, great.
And I would really appreciate it if you could make up some more exercises or practices and quizzes for that first exercise that you have in most of the lab manuals and things.
Can you tell us more about that? Do you mean at the beginning part of the lab manuals, you'd like more exercises there?
Yeah, so the first lab exercise that we have is just looking at the body in general, so the organization of the body. And so you have a lot of anatomical directions, planes and sections, body cavities, regions, the 9 regions and the quadrants, and then surface regions. So the scientific term for like the neck, you would say cervical, or for the stomach, you would say abdomen. So things like that.
Got it.
If you could have a body figure where we could label them for the students, or the students can, if we give them blank labels, they could click on it to see the answer, or we could use it for a quiz, you know, multi-purpose kind of thing.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
We'll definitely pass that along. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go over. Do you have any other questions? I'm sorry, Geeta, I didn't mean to.
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ruth, go ahead, ask your question. Let's see.
Sorry. My question is about the OpenStax textbook. We're going to the online textbook, and I noticed it was also on your website. So how do I do both?
Do both, you mean use the OpenStax books with Visible Body?
Yes, thank you.
Sure, yeah, you're welcome. Deb, do you want to show the
I'll stop.
Oh, thanks. No problem. Yeah, so we do have a pre-built course that correlates to the OpenStax textbook. And we've heard, yeah, we hear from a lot of professors using that book.
Yes, I'm trying to find it in my rather large collection of courses on my courseware, my courses page, but we do have the correlation, and you can also find all of our pre-made courses once you're inside of courseware by clicking on this pre-made courses button, and then it will take you to our website where you can sort through the different collection of courses that we've created and very quickly add it to your courseware account just by clicking the add course to my account button. So I'm pretty sure we have the AMP OpenStax here under our textbook correlation courses. So this would be the first place you would want to come and check, provided you do have an account. And again, if you don't, we can make sure we create one for you and send you a course link. But it's right here on our page, so you would just click add course to my account, and I've already got it, but what will happen is it will bring up the copy, and you can tell here it's our newest version by the 2020 update. And then of course you can change anything here in the course name, your start date, your first assignment due date, and then save it, and it will create a copy immediately in your courseware account. So that would be the easiest way to find it. And the way that these correlation courses work, we use the textbook structure. So in this instance, the OpenStax Anatomy and Physiology textbook, we look at the chapter organization and we set up the course to match exactly that same organization of the content. So all of these chapters in the courseware course are going to match what's in the textbook that the students are referring to. However, when they actually dig into the content, what they'll see is the content presented using the Visible Body Anatomy and Physiology content. So we match word for word the structure of the textbook, and the students are presented with the Visible Body 3D content and animations and so forth. So that's what we mean when we say a textbook correlation course.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Any other questions, Ruth?
Well, we I think are gonna go to a hybrid course. And so we use Canvas here at Longwood University. And I'm taking the Canvas course right now, so I'm sure there's a way to like import everything into Canvas. But I thought I would ask our tech people about that.
Yes, and we will have, like I posted, we are working on LMS integration. So for Canvas, we are very close to having the single sign-on capability.
Great.
So that will be ready for fall, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. And I'll just let everybody know too, we will, you know, we have a great team here at Visible Body, and you each have a Visible Body representative, likely in your region. We've got people all over the country, so they'll be reaching out after this, these office hours, or this office hour, I should say, and to follow up with you. So any questions that you don't get answered here, feel free to reach out to us and your rep. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to Vladimir. Go ahead, Vladimir. You just need to unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not clear as to how to link Visible Body to Blackboard. You mentioned that that's possible, but I don't know how to do that. Can you explain, please?
So I'm actually going to go into the Marriott course here, and on the left-hand menu, you'll notice that there's an invite people with a little icon for a person and a plus sign. I want to go to that link, and then I want to copy the course. So this is actually the link that you would post in Blackboard that will drive your students to create or to log in, either create a courseware account if it's the very first time they've used it, or to log in to courseware if they've previously joined a courseware course with another professor. So this would be the link that you would post in courseware, and then once they create their account and they're on your course roster, then they would just simply use this to log into, actually then you would need to, if I'm not mistaken, and you can address this, Emily, they would need to then have the links to the assignments if there's not a single sign-on integration set up. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. So you could just link out the way Debbie does with this one link here, but you could also link directly to assignments. If you open up an assignment, Deb, just they all have URLs. Yeah, any of them is fine. Yeah. Yep, so just if you wanted to, actually, if you go back out, that URL up there, see it says courseware.visiblebody.com/courses/24072/assignments. You could copy that link and create a web assignment in Blackboard. The only thing is that when you go from semester to semester, you'll have to, you know, redo those links because that link will change the next semester of your course because the dates will be different. That's the only thing, but you could directly link the students straight here or do what Debbie does is use that invite people link and send the students to courseware. And if there are concerns, understandable concerns about, you know, just multiple logins and the students, you know, just keeping track of when their assignments are due. And, you know, that's, again, totally understandable. There's just a lot that students have to do. You know, we're showing you the instructor view here. Deb, if you could go to the assignment view, you know, it's very similar to what the students see, but when the students open this assignment path, they'll have a little red notification on any assignment that's due. And they also have the calendar, which is a great organizational tool for students because that you'll see like the assignment links are right on the calendar. So that's a nice, helpful tool to keep, you know, all of the assignments organized for students.
Is it possible to have the assignments, the Visible Body assignments on Blackboard so that the students can just go to one calendar?
Not yet, but we are working on it. It's that you'd have to link out. But I'm not sure. That being said, I mean, I don't know Blackboard very well. You could definitely get an account and play around with it. It might be possible. But I know that we don't have the deep linking yet. That's on our list for product development this upcoming year.
You know, I have a question concerning the lab activities. Debbie mentioned one activity that was 59 pages long, and I understand that the answers are provided. However, grading something like that, especially when you have 30 or 60 students, would take a very long time. And are you guys working towards having it automatically graded?
Yes. It's just a question of when. So yeah, so we do understand that need for the auto-graded lab activities.
Okay, that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. All right, I'm going to go over to Joe. Hang on one second, let me find you, Joe. Oh, I might have dropped off. All right, hang on one second. Let's see. Okay, Hala, go ahead. You just need to unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm using this software for the fall semester. So I'm trying to make a link for each assignment on Canvas. We are using Canvas. So by clicking on the assignment on Canvas, the students will be able to look for the assignment. Do they have to go to the courseware to go to the assignment, or once we settle that on Canvas, they can do that?
Yeah, so yeah, you would do it the same way we just walked through. You could just take the assignment link, the URL, and copy that into a Canvas assignment, and that'll send the student directly to this page.
And at the beginning of the semester, the students definitely have to purchase the apps. And what do they have to do at the beginning of the semester to have an access for each assignment?
Deb, do you want to walk through that?
Sure, yeah. So the very first thing that has to happen is that you need to copy your course link once you finalize your course and you make your changes to the due dates, and then you publish and make your assignments available to your students. You want to invite your students to join your course. So that's when you would go to the invite people link and copy your course link and post this in your Blackboard or your Canvas so your students can access it. And then what you would like to do is to also post a little PDF guide to help your students get started with visible body. And we have that provided for you under this last tab called Instructor Resources. And this is your reference information about everything about visible body courseware, and it's built right into your instructor account so that you can very quickly find our system requirements. And these are important because you want students to utilize the correct browser. And I noticed there was a question earlier posted about how do you kind of proactively reduce some of the technology glitches that students are experiencing. And the very basic common reasons that students have problems are, number one, they're not using a supported browser. So to use courseware, the browser has to be Firefox, Chrome, or Safari, version 11 or later. So these are basic tech requirements that students need to follow. So I always recommend to my instructors and professors that they grab this link from our system requirements page and post that in addition to your course link so that students have it handy right in your LMS. And we also need a minimum download speed of 30 Mbps. So we also have a speed test that's embedded in our Getting Started guide so students can test that. So these are very basic things that are necessary. We also, as Emily indicated, recommend that students, when they're logging into courseware and completing their assignments, that they have other tabs closed and only have their visible body courseware and their assignment pages open as they're working through, because that will increase their loading time. That will free up their internet and increase their loading time so that they'll get their assignments loading faster. And keep in mind that when the students are launching their assignments, they are loading the entire content of the app the very first time that they click open the assignment. So we're all used to things happening very, very fast when we're on the internet, and these are robust programs with significant amounts of information in them and 3D models. So it's not uncommon for the first load time, as Emily said, to be between 30 and 60 seconds. And when you're on a Zoom, it takes a little bit longer. I think you probably all have experienced that with the move to online. So I would recommend clicking on that system requirements link and providing that. But the other link that you can provide them with is the Quick Start Guide. And this is a very nice walkthrough for your students that lets them know how to do basic things in courseware. And then it also provides them with screenshots of what to do once you send them your invitation and your course link. So your link will look something like this. And then your students will either sign up if they're brand new to courseware, or sign in if they need to use their login that they've used for a prior course. However, they are going to your course now, so they'll be ending up in your course roster. So it's very easy, and they do the same thing that you do, or you did when you created your Visible Body Instructor account. They enter in their email address, and then they confirm it. They then enter in their password, and they confirm that. They enter their first and their last name, and they agree to our terms, and they hit continue. So pretty standard, and I'm sure your students are very accustomed to creating accounts, and this is basically what they're doing with their courseware account. So then they're presented with three options. They can either go to our online checkout to purchase their student subscription to courseware, or if they've gone to the bookstore and purchased an activation code for courseware, they would enter that in the second box. Or lastly, they might want to take advantage of the 2-week free trial. And we do offer that for new student activations. So every student who creates a new account will have a 2-week grace period. And that's nice because we want to make sure that they're going to remain in your course and be committed to completing the work. So they would typically start their trial, and then 14 days later, when they try to log in again, they will either need to purchase by going to the checkout or enter an activation code that either was purchased at the bookstore or was provided to them by yourself, or sometimes departments will buy access on behalf of students. So we can certainly talk about the purchase options, but these are the 3 steps that students need to go through to create their account.
Thank you so much. So do you mind if you can share these links and send it via email to us, so I can post it in the syllabus and on the campus homepage for the students to be available?
Well, I wouldn't want to share my course link because
I'm not talking about the course link. I'm about the pages that you show it to us for instruction for the students.
Certainly, certainly. And that is all available for you in your courseware account under the Instructor Resource tab. And once you open the Instructor Resource tab, you can very quickly get to our support site. But yes, we can post that, the support site link. And Emily, the PowerPoint presentation, I think we have a newer one that we might want to post that has the speed test. This particular version, I don't believe has that. So,
yep, that's included in all of the pre-built courses.
That's true. Yep, that is absolutely true.
Assignment for students.
Yep, that's true. So if I go back to my assignments page, the very first assignment is going to be getting started with visible body, and this is actually the newest version of the PDF Getting Started guide. So when you do create your pre-made course, then you'll find everything in there that you need, and this is the newest version of that guide that we added some screenshots for the calendar and how to access some of their programs. And here's the speed test right here built in. So, and these are great too, because this gives them some basic information about the tech requirements as well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right, so we are a little bit over the hour. There was just another question about where to get the answer key. And you can get that from your visible body rep, who will be following up with you after this session. But if you anytime you need to get in touch with us, if you go to our website, visiblebody.com, there are, any of those forms that, it says request a demo or request a trial, you can fill out any of those forms. They do go to human beings and to us, our team, and we get back to you. We respond within 24 hours to those forms. So if you miss the email from your rep or you want to proactively get in touch with us right away, you can just fill out one of those forms. And I will also put my email address in the chat here. You can always email me and I can put you in touch with your rep so that you can get the lab manual answer keys, a trial, whatever, help with setting up a course. We also have wonderful support and training. So, we have all these pre-built courses, but we offer training, one-on-one training with a trainer to help you get up and running right away. So lots of resources to help you out. Any other questions before we finish? Let's see, I just want to look through. Actually, Lori, I think I don't know, you might have, your hand is still raised. Oh, not anymore. So I think we got to you. Elsa, did you have another question?
Yes. Do you have the, let's see, I guess, am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the linkage with Saladin?
We do.
Okay, good. And I noticed there were like 4 apps, the pictures that Deb had, 4 apps. Are those the only ones we would use, or are there others that we select from, or are those the ones recommended?
So I'll let Deb answer that question.
Thank you, Emily. Yes, these are the 4 programs that are currently available as part of the content in courseware. So when a student purchases a subscription, they're purchasing access to 2 years of access to the platform, during which time they can join an unlimited number of courses. So they can be invited by numerous professors on campus. And they're able then to complete your coursework, complete your assessments, have their grade report to the Visible Body Gradebook. But they're also able to navigate to this My Apps page and access the individual products at any time for learning and reference. And so all they have to do is click on the name of the product. And as Debbie showed earlier, this is the Premium Muscle Premium app. And students are then able to open this program up on their computer and click into the models and investigate the models. And so I'm just using my mouse, and you can zoom in and you can zoom out. You can hold the key bar down on your computer and really position this model anywhere you want on the page. And then when you click a structure and highlight it in blue, that's when the menu pops up that Debbie mentioned earlier, where you can get the definition, pronunciation, platysma, as well as pathologies that are associated with the structure. And then, of course, you can click on the origin and insertions, and then very quickly see, and then toggle between the insertion and the origin point. So these are all interactive 3D models, and everything in the model is clickable. And you do have some customization features in the menu where you can fade and hide structures and make them translucent. And then also, as Debbie indicated earlier, any associated movement is going to be presented in the muscle action part of the menu. So students can click there to investigate the muscle movement. And then, of course, they can add blood supply, where students can then investigate all those individual structures just by clicking on them. And definition is changing. and then they can add the nervous innervation here so that they can investigate all of those structures, again, by clicking on them and getting the information. And then when you click the details icon, it actually gives the student a 3D model with all of those components present. So they're seeing the muscle, the origin, the insertion, blood supply, and innervation. So there are a lot of great features available in these programs. You can also customize in the premium app as well as the Atlas app. So I'm clicking this little button with a plus sign in the menu, and you can see I've added some structures from other body systems. But on the right-hand side, I also have some body systems that I can toggle on and off. So if I want to customize my view further, I can do so by just clicking on these different icons. So a lot of customization features here. And that's just one of the 4 products that's available in the bundle. And actually this week, we are adding a 5th product called Physiology and Pathology. And I believe that's going in either tomorrow or possibly Monday, but certainly by early next week, so that there'll be 5 programs here under the web version. And then students can also, as part of their subscription, download the mobile versions of the programs. And so then now there will be 5 options to download. And they would then use the credentials on this My Apps page to install these apps on their mobile device, and there will be no charge. And furthermore, they get to keep all of these mobile apps and walk away with all of this content to facilitate continuous learning in their profession or for continuous learning as they move through their curriculum. And so it's a great value for the students. As you can see, now they can access Visible Body on any device, anytime, anywhere. So it's very convenient for them.
Right, I have one more question.
Certainly.
I guess Debbie could answer that. When you're giving your test for lab, do you use the Visible Body? You let them see the picture and you ask a question about that, or is it just paper and pen?
Now that we're online, I do screen grab some Visible Body pictures and have them ID things. I draw a line, point to a bone part or a specific muscle. And I also have written questions, just, what's the muscle that allows you to do some action?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can also create your own questions using the models as well. So I think somebody else had asked about, I think I answered it in the Q&A section, but it was, can you use the Visible Body pre-made courses or make your own? And the answer is you can do both. And so you could, just to Debbie's point, you could ask a more advanced question, really getting at critical thinking skills of, what is the muscle that does this thing? You can really go to town customizing the content to whatever you want. And we're happy we could show you how easy it is to make your own dissection quiz question if you want. It's very simple, and you can just build your own bank of questions, and you can build your own questions with our models. You can also modify our quiz questions. For example, if it's a multiple choice question and you don't really like our wording, or it's, you want to word something differently, you have full reign to edit our quiz questions. So Deb here is showing the quiz bank and how easy it is to just filter down to the types of, I'm sorry, she's in the question bank, the types of questions that we have. And then Deb, do you want to show them just quickly how to create their own dissection question?
Sure. So when you're in the quiz bank, or question bank rather, if you don't find a question by toggling through the filters here at the top, and you want to make your own question, you can certainly do that by clicking the Create New Question button in the upper right-hand side. And then you would click the drop-down menu to indicate which type of question you'd like to build. Then you can hit the Continue button, and you're going to be able then to access the question editor where you can type your question. And then you're going to be able to choose a view. So if you want to do a muscle, let's say you want to do, let's just put in shoulder muscle. I don't know if it's going to come up, but let's say you want to give them the shoulder joint or the shoulder and arm maybe as your view. So then you can choose the view that you want to present to students and click continue. So now we know the students are going to get that view. Now you can select the correct answer. So you have here the muscular system and the skeletal system, and then you can choose what you'll accept here as a correct answer and what you won't accept as a correct answer. So you have this hierarchy where you can remove things that aren't going to be marked correct and things that you are going to allow them to use as a correct answer.
Yep. And if you expand the folders, Deb, you can really be very specific. So you don't have to accept, you really can make it your own. If you want to make it more, easier and accept multiple structures as a correct answer, you could check all of these and it'll bring them over, or you can uncheck them and just select the specific structures that you want to be correct. And again, this is auto-graded, which is wonderful.
Yeah, so then you would just categorize all of these toggles here so that you can quickly find this question, and then you can even add keywords to further assist you in locating that question. So a lot of instructors like to add either a final tag or a midterm tag, and then they can find the questions that they want to use for those particular higher stake assessments. So once you're finished with all of that, you would click Save Question. And I haven't put all of my toggles in here for my filter, so it's going to tell me, oh, you've got a little bit more work to do before you can actually save. So once you're done, you can preview the question and then even assign it from there. And then it will show up for you in your question bank when you have when you've completed it. And there is a shortcut way as well to create your own questions. You can even clone our pre-existing questions, which will then allow you to have access to the question editor and all of the other tools. So if you want to tweak one of our questions, this would be a shortcut way to do that. Just make a copy and then make your changes and then save them.
Great, thanks, Deb. Any final questions before we wrap up?
It's overwhelming. So much to do.
Any technology, right, when you're looking at it can be overwhelming, but we assure you really it's, actually, Debbie, could you speak to your experience on kind of the ease of use and how you got started?
I was really nervous. I had no idea what to do. Emily, you came down, I think the first time, and showed it to us. We played with it a little bit in the lab, and I went home and played with it, and it's so easy to do. I could teach myself to do most of it just by clicking around, knowing I couldn't really screw up anything because it was all pre-made. So I could make my own quizzes, and it's very easy. It's user-friendly.
Oh, I like
Someone
that.
who's not computer literate.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and again, we do have onboarding help. We're happy to walk through the basics to get started, and the pre-made courses do make it.
Yeah, I had a few webinars, like Zoom meetings with you guys, just me and one of you, and you would show me how to do, I don't know, a dissection quiz or a multiple choice quiz, and then I'd go on my own and I'd be fine. So we'd get together for like 15 minutes, show me something, and I'd be okay.
Great. Thank you. All right, any other questions or thoughts before we finish?
Oh, that was very good, very helpful.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you everybody for spending a big part of your afternoon with us, and we will follow up. I put my email again in the chat. Feel free to email me. Thank you so much, Debbie. We really appreciate your time with us and sharing your experience.
Happy to help.
Right, great, and thanks, Deb.
Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Thank you all.
Have a great afternoon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.